Welcome to Bitrix Live. I'm Damien Edwards, Commercial Manager of Bitrix24 Partners Interface. We are based in the UK. Our address and contact details are on the screen now, up there. And you can contact us by email or phone. Our email is sales@interface. Have a look at what we do on our website as well. With me I have our support manager, Andy Naylor.
Hi there, so we're going to be here for the next hour answering any questions that you may have on Bitrix, and we can show you on the cloud version of Bitrix, or if you have any questions about the on-premise, we can show you that too. So we will show you in this next hour the answers to any questions that you may have. Please do put your questions in the box on YouTube and we can answer them as we go along. We have had a couple already come in. If you do want to send your questions before the session starts each week, then just send them to live@interface.com. We can pick them up and start the next session with them. So as we say, we're here every Thursday at 10 AM Eastern Time.
Okay, we've got a question to start with.
Yeah, it's one of the...
About email. There's some confusion about email, I think.
Yeah, certainly. So let's jump in to Bitrix. So like I say, we have the cloud version here, and we also have the on-premise version on another tab, so we can answer it in each of the different systems. So yeah, the question really was a little bit of confusion. Bitrix changed their email, didn't they, around about, I'd say, 2 to 3 months ago. And now you can have your mailbox inside Bitrix. So if you click on the webmail on the left-hand side, then it gives you the options of what you want to, what mail client you use for your email to connect. So we use, here at Interface, we use Gmail. So we would click on Gmail and follow the instructions. Our demonstration email that we tend to hook up to these sites is Outlook. So it's pretty straightforward to connect to your email. Once you click on the provider that you use, you just click on authentication. And then what it asks you to do is enter in your email address. So if we just interface demo at outlook.com, and then if we enter in a password and click and sign in, essentially it's as simple as that. So you can now see that the system has integrated with our interface demo at outlook.com, and then it's up to you really. With the following settings, you can specify how many emails you want to bring into Bitrix. So we can see here that we have 3 days, 1 month, or you can bring in from all time. You can specify your outgoing settings. I won't do that at the moment. But the main important part of the email integration is the CRM integration. And essentially what Bitrix does is it checks all your inbound emails, so all the emails that are already in your inbox, if you're bringing them in from fetching messages from the previous week, and any future inbound emails, it will check to see whether who they're coming from exists in the CRM, and it will essentially append that email to that contact or company with the same email address in the CRM. And Bitrix will also check all your outgoing email, so it will check your sent folder, and again, whoever you're emailing, if that email exists in the CRM in a company or a contact, it will append that email to that company or contact in the CRM. So the good thing about it is you can see a history of all communications with you and that particular client in Bitrix, and so can other users. They can come to a particular company and search for and see the history of the communication with maybe a colleague of theirs. So you don't have to email to and from, in and out of Bitrix. You can use Outlook or continue using Gmail. Bitrix will still check those inbound folders and sent folders, so you don't have to use the interface in here. So what we'll do is we'll just deselect a couple of these. There's a couple of useful ones. If you want to create a lead for all incoming messages from new email addresses, so if they don't exist in the CRM already, you can create a new lead. And for all your outgoing messages, if you're emailing a contact that doesn't exist in the CRM, again, it can create that particular contact. So it's up to you how you want those settings set up. Essentially, we just click on connect. And what it will do is, I don't think we have any emails in this box, so let me just send a quick email. And if we just click on, I'll just send an email now. And then so Bitrix will periodically check and sync up your email inbox. So if you're fetching messages from a populated email inbox already, they will all filter in over, depending on how long you do the sync for. So if you've done it for all time, please just be patient with it. It will take a little bit of time to bring in all your emails into Bitrix. But if I just force a sync for this occasion and click on here, we should be able to see the email that I've just sent. So you can here, so you can see test Bitrix24 live. If I click on that email, I can see the content of it. So I only put hello in there. You can see my contact details on there. So you can see them in here. And there's a couple of great tools in here as well. You can generate a task from an email. So if I wanted to create a task here, you can see that it automatically brings in the email content.
That might be one reason why you would choose to use Bitrix email client over other freely available clients, I guess. Those tools are allowed to integrate. And Save to CRM is available now as well.
Yeah, so Save to CRM is essentially what it's going to do is going to create a lead. So when you save to the CRM, if this contact doesn't exist in the CRM already, you can click on Save to CRM and it will create a lead in the system. These are coming, so we'll be able to discuss in the activity stream, discuss in chat. So yeah, it's one, like Damien said, it's one reason why you would use the Bitrix mailbox internally to generate those kind of things, like tasks and leads. Mm-hmm. Just one other point, you can connect multiple emails, so you can connect a new email address here. So we have clients that use this for a ticket base. So maybe you connect to support at yourdomain.com. And the good thing about that is you can then generate support tasks from it. So again, if we clicked on create task, we could then drop that particular task into a support work group.
So that's a lightweight way of creating a sort of ticketing system.
Yeah.
Yeah, ticketing inbox or something. Bitrix, of course, self-hosted, includes a help desk, fully featuring help desk, but the cloud does not currently. So it's a useful way of managing those inquiries. Is that, we covered that?
Yeah, that's the email.
Okay, we've got a question. Is it possible to create multiple stores and have only specific products in each of them? I want to create a custom store per client. So you sent that and then you sent a follow-up question to say I have a few big clients that each want their own buying portal. So on first reflection, we would say probably not. It's not possible to create multiple stores if you're creating those for a client. If you need your client to have their own back end essentially to administer that store, you can create multiple stores, but there's only one back end where you can administer the products and the orders. But if you're creating stores and you only need to give the front end to your client in order just to place orders, then you can certainly create more than one store depending on the license you've got. I think you get one store with the free license, so you're on a commercial package, you get 5 and then 10. So yeah, you can create multiple stores within Bitrix. You can create multiple products, categorize them, so it might be that you use the category for each of your clients to keep them separate, and then you can publish those on your own. How do you publish on your own URL? Is there a setting inside?
Yeah, so if you just go back to the online stores here, click into actions and then click on configure site.
Okay, so Bitrix will give you this random URL site address. If that's fine, use that. Otherwise, you can.
Click on the pencil.
Yes. Okay. If you own the domain, you can put your own domain in there. Click Own Domain. Put your domain in there, and then update the C record or A record within from your domain provider. Point that to your shop. So you can create multiple stores with different products for each store. You'll have one control panel where you're managing the orders as they come in, but I guess that would work for you. You can manage your customers' orders. There it is, orders. So yeah, and you'll be able to see from here actually which store has created that order. Source, I think it's probably source, which would be the store. See the fields that you can choose in here. Yeah, we think source is the store. So yeah, and then you can actually filter that. So I could use, hopefully that field's available, source. I could drop down one of your clients in here, and I could search for that client, and then I'd be able to see just the orders from that particular client. You can save that filter, so you'll end up with a list of your clients' stores down this side. You couldn't give them access to the back end, essentially. All you can give them is access to the front end. So if, which I guess may be the case, if they want to be able to manage the orders themselves, that's going to be a different scenario, whereby you probably need more than one instance. So you've only got one control panel essentially for that.
Yeah, it is. It's just a central control panel, isn't it, for all your online stores. So you can create multiple, but yeah, giving access to your clients to this, I don't think it would work as such. You would need each client would need its own Bitrix installation.
Yeah, and you can set up an email notification when you receive an order, but I don't think you can set up different ones per store.
I think you could.
It's one.
I think you could.
Oh right, we've got some automation. Okay, you can put a rule in there or something based on store or something.
Yeah, so if you had got an email in here somewhere, I think we will have send email. But I suppose what you could have is your condition here. So we could have online store name maybe. But if you had source, if that's in here, I think maybe it's online store name.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will be.
Equals, and then we could specify the online store name here.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, you could write whatever the client site is called.
So yeah, absolutely, they can receive a notification when they receive an order and process that notification. Can you make it so they each register themselves and they have to say who gets access? No, you couldn't do that on the cloud product. We could develop something for you on the self-hosted that would do that for you, but depends on budget, I guess, for this. You know, of course, they could register themselves on a free account on Bitrix and they get a free store. You could set it up for them, but if you want to control it, then it's not going to work it's not going to work really too well without having a self-hosted instance and us doing some customization, so you can manage that registration process. But it would be possible on self-hosted, I think.
Just got a question from Pablo, just with regards to I can't configure a group email in the Office 365 account in the webmail that we were discussing at the start. Only a user account. I probably would recommend maybe either contacting Bitrix for any questions if you're having troubles connecting, or just we'll put our details up in a little bit and just drop us an email and we'll see if we can help. I've not tried Office 365 with a group email before. We've only used we've connected the Gmail, Outlook, Office 365 user and IMAP. So I've not tried to connect the group before, but we can see if we can try and get some help on that. I had a question also come in just with regards to they wanted to attach, let me just cancel this off, they wanted to attach a business card to a contact in the CRM. So there's a way in Bitrix that you can create custom fields in the CRM. So we'll jump into the CRM here, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a field, a custom field in a contact to display the actual image of a business card. So if we go into more and into settings, you need to be an administrator to get access to changing the fields and these elements in the CRM. But if you are an administrator, just click on form and report settings, click on the custom fields here. And this is essentially where you can add a custom field to any of the different CRM sections. So we'll just add a new field for a contact, and we'll give it a business card. Business card, and we're going to give it a type of a file. And the good thing is, if you are attaching images, so if you're attaching JPEGs or PNGs or any image format, then it will actually give you the preview of it. So if I click on save in here, and that will mean that it's now available in the actual contact itself. So if I go into contacts, and let's just click on Jack Smith for an example, and let's just say we want to add it in here. So we'll call the section itself business card. So if we click off that, I'm in common view, so now everybody will see this section called business card. Click on select field. You can now see here we have the business card, and then we will click on here, add file, and then we should see an example one we added today. And then if you click on save, you can then see it gives you a nice preview of the business card in here. So this is just one simple file custom field, and if you are uploading images to it, it will give you a nice preview like it does on this particular section. So that's one example. The other one, if you do have a cloud, I've not tried it myself, but I did have a quick check. If you go to the applications in the left hand side, so Bitrix does come with a lot of different applications that you can connect. So you can see here, this is one of the newest ones in there, available in the project work groups, the mind map. But what we can have is, if we typed in business card, I think that will pull up one of the apps I found earlier. Maybe it won't. Let's have a look. There we go. There is this one here. I've not tried it yet, but if you are interested in taking a picture of a business card on your phone, then essentially what it will do, it will automatically grab the data from the business card and create a CRM contact from the information that it pulls. Like I say, I've not used this. There is this that I found on the application store, so try it and see how it goes when you're scanning the picture in there.
Okay. There's our contact details. We provide pre-sale support, demo, and explain the different editions that are available with Bitrix. We provide implementation, including customization, training, and we provide telephone support service as well for cloud or self-hosted customers. I had an inquiry this week for a good question about a business that wants to share information on a deal with suppliers in order to get prices for that particular product or proposal. So they wanted to do this in a quite a slick way, an automated way, and they wanted to be able to share some of the details from the deal, but only limited numbers of details from the deal, with a number of suppliers, so that they could all receive quotes from different suppliers. So I'll show you how you could do that in quite a simple way using a business process. So let's go into deals. In fact, let's go into deals. Let's go into settings as well.
you want to be on the on-premise version?
Oh, right, okay. Yes, I do. Yes. Let's go into the CRM. So let's go in the on-premise version. They both look the same. You'll see on the on-premise version there's an admin bar across the top because we are an administrator. The on-premise edition, if I just drop this down, gives you access to these tools to allow you to edit pages in a lot more detail and a very comprehensive control panel section. Okay, let's open that up. Let's open it's the settings. So we're going to deals on this tab. We're going to settings. What we're going to do is let's go into a deal and find some fields. So let's say we've got the deal from the client. They want to share some information on this deal. You'd have to have the information in some fields. See what fields we've got. Let's add a field. We'll add a field, text field called requirement. I think in this particular case they had a number of different fields, some with drop downs that actually specify the product that they were looking for. But let's say info on requirement. So let's say we've populated that field with the information that's on this deal, and this is the information we want to share with them. Let's share this date field with them as well, so that they know what date we need this quote back. If we go into business processes, we go into settings and automation and business processes. If we go into deals here, we're going to add a template on here. Okay, we're going to call it supplier inquiry. We're going to run this manually. So I mean, you could base this on a stage of a deal. So when a deal gets to quotation stage, it can trigger it automatically. But in this case, we'll just run it manually. I'm going to add a parameter in here, which is going to be the suppliers. Let's add this. Call it supplier.
So the thing is with a parameter, isn't it? It's a form field that you're going to populate.
We can bind it to a CRM item. So in this case, what we want to do, yeah, and he's right. So and we'll show you this. It's a field that will be required to populate in order for the process to run. And in this case, we're requiring the user to populate a company or multiple companies. In this case, let's tick multiple boxes. Remove those again. Click OK. Click OK on there. Click Save on there. So the form field will require us to select some companies. All we need to do then is share some information with those companies. So the information we want to share with them, let's put request for quote. The information we want, please quote, is I think you had an end date field and then a field called, let's see if they're at the bottom. See what the fields are called again. Requirement and end date. I wonder if we need to refresh this before the end date requirement field will come up.
It will be in here.
There it is, requirement. So we can insert the requirement field. Let's just put some commentary in there, and then required by, and I think we said we'd probably just use the end date field if we can find it.
I think it's close date, isn't it?
It's what, sorry?
I think it's called close date.
Close date. All right, it's described differently in this section. Sender, users. Let's put in John Smith as the sender, which is the sender that I'm on here, and that really is it. I think we'd have to specify the recipient's email addresses. We could pull that in also, but essentially, this will. Let's just try it. Let's save this process. Apply that, and if we go back into the deal and refresh, what we need to do is select from our business processes at the top right and select the link we've got down here called supplier inquiries, the one we just made, and it now asks us to select. And we can select more than one user, select a series of users, and we can submit that, and then that will trigger the process. I think what we probably should have put in there is a little notification to add to the activity stream, and then we'd see that that's actually gone, that email has actually been sent, we'll be able to see who it's gone to. Let's just do that. Let's just do that now. Copy that description. We want add comment field, which is down there. If we copy that description into there.
I don't think it's copied. Let's just.
Okay, let's just save that and just run the process again, and you'll see something happen when we run it. It should be a bit more interesting. So we're going to select supplier inquiry, and of course we could have shared any number of fields with this supplier, and we're going to submit. And we can see this is the information. Please quote required info, blah blah. So we've if we'd have specified in here, we could have actually listed the companies that we've shared it with as well. We'd be able to see who we shared that with. So that's it. They'll be able to reply to that email with the information you need from them.
Okay, so the question come through. Might you show how to delete fields you've added, because you've made a little bit of a mess of the stuff that you've added. Yeah, so it's quite straightforward really. If you've added custom fields, then you would need to go back into your CRM settings, go into your form and report settings here, go into custom fields. And if you wanted to remove the fields, delete them for your contacts that you don't use anymore, so for example we have a few in here that we don't use, simple case of clicking on them and deleting them, so we can get rid of those there. So you delete your own custom fields in the area that you create them, which is pretty straightforward. Now you can't delete standard fields that come with Bitrix. So what Bitrix do is they allow you to hide them. And as an administrator, you have the full access to hiding fields, and we'll just go into the contact here. So the first thing that you need to be aware of is that if you go to this little gear icon at the top, click into it, just ensure that you are in common form view. So as an administrator, you have the ability to change section titles, and hover over any field and you will see a little gear icon on the right, and you have delete section, select field and add field. So as an administrator you have those options. A normal sales agent who comes into the CRM won't. So they won't be able to hide fields, change anything, move anything around in the common form view. So with your point about deleting fields, what you would need to do is you would need to say, let's just say for example we click on contact type, we don't want it to show, click hide, it will disappear. And you can always pull it back if you wanted to bring it, so we've got a lot of fields already hidden, so if I say contact type, I can bring it back at any point, drag and drop. But what the important factor is if you hide this and a normal user who isn't an administrator comes to this particular contact, they won't know contact type exists because we've just hidden it, and they won't be able to bring it back in the common form view. So that's essentially how you delete or hide in Bitrix's sense fields that are standard towards Bitrix. Your custom fields you just delete by going to the custom fields section.
I think in deals you can create dependent fields now as well. Let's just check. oh yeah, here we go. So if you create your field, give it a name, and required starting with stage. So you can make this field dependent on the stage of the deal. I guess you can do this in leads as well. So as it stands, we could deselect some of these. So the field will only appear when we get to this stage of the deal. So makes for, if you need to gather information, more information as you progress through the sale, then that's kind of perfect for you.
Can you do this? It's something relatively new, isn't it? Could you do this on a pipeline view? So we've got, so these stages appear, don't they, in this pipeline. Would we have to switch to a different pipeline?
On a pipeline view.
So if I want cloud opportunities, because those stages will be different, obviously, won't they?
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know the answer.
So if we go into edit settings, I would imagine that.
So they're going to be different stages. So that suggests that the field would have to be dependent on the pipeline, which isn't a standard feature.
Yeah, but I think what you could do though, couldn't you? You could show that it only appears on these.
Yeah, so it becomes dependent on that stage on the pipeline. I don't know. I mean, I presume if you create the field, if we called the field test and we suggested wait for details as the dependency, then
you need to go to the other pipeline, hide it in all those fields. That's what you need to check.
We've already got a field here called test. Yeah, we'll not go through that, but yeah, it's.
I think you can. I think you could hide you could have a field that's pipeline specific. So essentially, what you would do, jump back into the on-premise and hide it.
Yeah.
So to go into an example deal here. Yeah, I don't know what we renamed it, didn't we? But I think essentially you can have it on pipeline.
Yeah. Okay.
The Bitrix languages, when will Bitrix support Arabic language? I'm not fully sure with regards to the languages. I think if we just quickly
it's not available. It's not available yet, and I don't know when it's due for launch.
Yeah, so the languages that are available here, so English, German, Spanish, there's quite a lot in here. Got a few currently in beta. So Vietnamese, Thai, Hindi, Indonesian. There's quite a few there, so you can see that we have. So we can find out, see if we can come back next week, see if we can get some information on that, or message Bitrix from the support chat widget in Bitrix itself.
Okay, my CRM form will not show on my website. Just get a blank screen. Is that because they're using something like a theme on WordPress that doesn't support, or
was that to do with CRM forms?
CRM forms.
Yeah, so usually if you embed a form, so what Bitrix gives you is the CRM forms option, and you can build your own forms within Bitrix to feed information into the CRM. But that problem was, and it's quite a common problem, that this embed code here, if you embed it onto a WordPress, it's not just WordPress that's in the error, it's to do with your hosting, and they block the iframe that Bitrix puts this form in. So just, I think it's an X-frame option. If you just disable that on your hosting, this will then appear. It's a common query that we usually get.
Okay, can I get Bitrix on my own URL? You can if you have a professional account, or if you have a self-hosted account, you've got to publish it on your own URL. So I mean, if you buy a self-hosted version of Bitrix through a partner like ourselves, we could host it on our URL for you, or you can point your URL to it. But if you're hosting it in-house on your own server, you can access it through an IP address, but you need to be able to apply an SSL certificate to it in order for some tools like telephony, push and pull for notification, things like that to work. And you can't apply an SSL certificate unless you have a URL domain name applied to it. So and on the professional, I think there's a setting inside there where you can go in and if we've got a professional account here, you can set the URL.
think you would set it in there when you start using it. With regards to what Damien's saying about the self-hosted version, so even if you were familiar with Bitrix and you have an extranet, you can essentially have on the self-hosted version your intranet on one domain and your extranet on another domain. So that can be quite useful if you are wanting two individual branded systems for your clients to log into.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Okay, put our contact details up there. We're, as we've said, Interface, Bitrix24 partner. Put your questions, send your questions to live@interface.com or post them in the chat box. Can I connect my website to Bitrix24 in order to track visitors without using forms? The website is made out of Bitrix24 sites and I can track my Facebook page visitors. Can I connect my website to Bitrix24 in order to track visitors without using forms? So you want to actually track when somebody's landed on your website without them completing a form. I don't think Bitrix really does that type of functionality. It's not a sort of analytics, not like a web analytics package, so it's not really designed for that. You can integrate forms. You can do some integration and some intelligence on when, if you're sending emails out from Bitrix, you can monitor when people have opened that email, clicked on links in those emails, and you can send notifications and things like that to people who update a contact record, suggest that they've actually interacted with you on that email, but they'd have to do some action. I mean, there will be a way of doing it on the website, but I don't know about just actually landing on the website. There has to be some interaction, I think.
Yeah, wouldn't you track visitors just using adding a Google Analytics account to your Bitrix24 site? That would be the only way to track visitors, where they've come from arriving on your site. Because Bitrix24 sites does come with the ability to assign your Google Analytics account to it. So click on, if that's what you're referring to, we can scroll down here and we can add our tracking number in here. And tracking pixels for Facebook, that's another one that you could use, so you can see where they're coming from, what they're hitting.
Yeah, I have salespeople that don't really need to be a user, they just initially enter info via forms. Is there a way to just send a report every day automatically on deals tagged to them? So, don't really need to be a user. Well, they can be. You can set them up as a user, and you can give them restricted permission to the system.
I think they would have to be a user, wouldn't they?
You can't access the CRM data if they're not a user.
You couldn't assign a deal to a person if they weren't a user on the system, because every CRM element has to have a responsible person associated against it. So let's say, for example, you can see here our deals, and then we have our responsible people here. These are users of the system. You wouldn't have to give them credentials to log into the system. You could create them as users and still let them use maybe a Bitrix form.
And then so the second quote is automatically just to send them a report automatically on deals tagged to them. So this is the way you tag a deal to them. You make them responsible for the deal. You could add an additional field that was a tag and associate that with a user and have a different responsible person. But essentially, you can tag people to deals, and then you could create a process whereby if they receive they're tagged to a new deal, they would automatically receive. In fact, it was a bit slightly complex. I won't set it up now, but you can check whether the responsible person has changed, and if it's send an email to that new responsible person using a business process. If you want to get in touch, we could show you how to do that.
Yeah, you said that you followed up with they don't need CRM access. Well, yeah, that's fine. You don't have to give them the login credentials, but you would have to create them as a user. That's what we're saying, because that's how you associate a deal with a sales rep, the responsible person field.
As part of the license, you can't give people access to the CRM data unless they have a license. They're a licensed user, so that means that extranet users, which are usually suppliers and customers, can log in to your portal, access information inside your portal, including tasks and documents and calendars and chat with you, but they're restricted from accessing CRM data as part of the terms of the license. So yeah, they need to be main users. That's an extranet site. It's very similar. This is a self-hosted version. Looks very similar to the main site, but generally you're going to restrict the sort of number of links that they see. Generally they can access a work group, and inside a work group they can access, as we know, tasks, calendars, drive, chat tools, lists and things like that, and that's so all those tools, features are available free of charge to an extranet user. So yeah, post your questions in the chat, please.
So we had a follow-up question that came through when we were talking about the Bitrix24 webmail, and it's associated really because it's about calendars. So you can connect. Obviously, if you missed the start of the session today, we were talking about how you can connect your email up via the webmail function here. So if I just disable it, I'll just show you. Just disable it here. So with email, you can connect to any of these types of mailboxes. The follow-up question was just with regards to how can we connect up our calendar. So essentially, it's very similar. You do have a few less options when you're syncing your calendar. But if you click calendar here, click on the little sync icon at the top, and it will show you on here what is available to connect. So you can connect your Google Calendar. We're on a Mac here, so it's a Mac calendar, iPhone and Android. And if we had Outlook on this particular computer, then it would also allow us to connect. So essentially, click on connect here. It will give us an account to log in as, and it will say choose an account. I can choose Damien's, and then it will carry on through the steps. And it's as simple as that really to connect it up. It will then create a two-way sync, and anything that you add onto your calendar will go into, in that case, Google Calendar. Anything you add onto Google Calendar will then sync back into Bitrix.
Okay. Can Bitrix24 give suggestions to deal with customers according to customer transaction behaviour, customer inactive, customer repeat purchases? So I'm not sure, to be honest, whether online stores, the order history in online stores, whether that is whether that you can do some intelligence. We've got some automation rules, but that would be per order, so we can trigger actions automatically per order. You want to see, I guess, important things like those that ordered then stopped ordering, information. I think you could define some parameters, and then you could create a custom business process. But I think you would need a self-hosted version to do that. Doesn't seem to be a standard feature of Bitrix to sort of like provide that intelligence.
Yeah, this is solely on an order by order basis. Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to check another order if they haven't ordered in the last 6 months. Email them out.
Yeah, I think orders actually appear in a company record. I'm not sure whether you get a sort of order history. So you get an order history. We could write, if it's not available, if you have a self-hosted, I'm guessing you're probably on the cloud, but if you had a self-hosted, we could write a little bit of code that would do this for you, quite simply, I guess, to do, but you would need a self-hosted license. Might be a feature that is in progress, because I can see it might be quite useful to have that sort of history if you've got a large, or that sort of intelligence if you've got a large number of customers.
Yeah, so you do have just to talk about the automation side of things. You have automation in leads, you have the automation in deals. We just saw a moment ago in the orders side of things, and then we have business processes, don't we, that we can trigger manually, like we went through on a deal earlier. Mm-hmm. So you can have those kinds of processes on a lead, deal, company, and contact.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've got a few minutes left in this session, so please do, if you've got any last minute questions, do put them in the box on YouTube and we can answer them. But I don't think we have many more, well, we don't have any other questions here that's come through. If you do have questions that come up in the week, do email us to live@intraface.com. and we can start the session next week on the Thursday at 10 AM Eastern Time with those questions. I think another point on these, just to point out, is that these sessions are recorded as well, so this will be saved to the Bitrix YouTube channel. So if you missed the start of the session, we were talking about email integration, and we talked about some of the business processes inside, so please do, if you missed the start, please do switch back and just check those out if you are interested in them.
Yeah, and if you subscribe to Bitrix and Intraface both on YouTube, so you will get notifications. So go over to youtube.com/Bitrix24 and youtube.com/Intraface, INTREFACE on YouTube, and subscribe, and then when we're doing live sessions you'll receive a notification. So looks like we don't have any more questions today. Rest of our webinars on Bitrix24.com or on intraface.com/webinars. We have a webinar at 11 AM on every Monday, and then the session on 10 AM every Thursday Eastern Time. Just got a question.
Is there a way to set permissions on the sites tool? I'm not 100% sure on that, in all honesty. I don't think you can set the permissions, but I wouldn't have thought this would be available to everybody in your system. I think this would be only available to create as an administrator. I can't see this Bitrix allowing every user to create a site. I think it would have to be an administrator. If you want to set administrators and you're in the cloud, just go to the employees list, find the user who you want to make an administrator, and click on them. So click on Edit Profile, and then you can see here access level. User has administrative access to the portal. I think that will be the permission side of things to grant access to this particular area.
Okay, customer goes from phase to phase manually, but can Bitrix do that automatically? Don't know what phase to phase refers to.
I think you're talking about the automation, aren't you? So can these stages go automatically?
Oh, customer goes from phase to phase manually, can be automatically. Right, yeah, you can use triggers or to update it automatically based on, like we've got up there, payment. Should the payment complete?
Yeah, so your triggers are here. So if this happens, then it will automatically move the order, in this case, to the next stage. So if we click on Add here, you have all those different, so let's say the shipment has been approved. Click on Save. So once the order has been marked as the shipment's been approved, it will automatically move to Fulfilled.
Yeah.
Or you could also, with the employee, you could change the status after it's done these two. So we click on Change Status and we'll say Paid. So what will happen there is we'll send a message, we'll send another message in 3 days' time, then after that is sent, we'll wait 3 more days, and then we'll automatically move the status to the next order status here. And that's you can do that in deals and leads too, can't you? So
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, looks like that's it. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, bye for now.